Hello, everyone. This is going to be a continuation of the collective reading from the Virgo perspective. I have a couple cards out on the table here already. So we're looking at the goal, whatever needs to be negotiated with, and the advice for moving forward. And then the card on the bottom of the deck is telling me what the universe wants to remind you your superpower is, which is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups here is coming right out of the Ten of Pentacles. And as of right now, the Ten of Pentacles is my card that talks to me about what we experienced on the eclipse, right? This card talks to me about the save point in the game, leveling up to a new level, yada yada yada, kind of receiving an inheritance of sorts, right? Something that's been in the works for a really long time, and then finally grasping that and achieving it. And the the energy of grasping and achieving that is coming up as the Knight of Cups here. And it's reminding me of the world's most famous Virgo, Beyoncé. She had, I think it was an HBO movie years ago. It might have been, was it called I Am Beyoncé or something like that? But there's this one funny scene that became a meme where it's like Beyoncé looking into the camera and she's crying and she's saying, I'm just so blessed. What am I supposed to do with all these blessings? And she's crying, crying. And that's kind of what I'm hearing with the Knight of Cups here, is that it's like, what am I supposed to do with all of these blessings in a type of way? Because, you know, the Ten of Cups it's a cute energy. It's an energy that you want to be in. But the Knight of Cups is coming up with, it's almost like the energy of like, well, now what? Kind of a thing. Like it's almost like, it kind of gives me the idea like if somebody had an adventurous spirit and they've set themselves out to climb Everest, right? Where it's like that's my bucket list agenda. I'm going to climb Everest. And then you do it. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here, is that it's like, okay, well, now what? Like there is no bigger mountain. So what's the next challenge, so to speak? Because Cups talks to me about finding your identity, right? So the Knight of Cups, he didn't just find the Holy Grail, the purpose, but he found his identity. Cups talk to me about, they're the vessel, right? So they hold the shape of the water, which is basically like the shape of our consciousness, right? Our identity. So in a lot of ways, it's almost like saying, now that you've proven that you are who you are, what's next, right? Because maybe this phase of the journey was just about proving that. And now that it's proved, right? Now that you've proven that you are the Beyoncé of the Zodiac, what's next, right? So the goal here is the star. And the star really seems like the energy of just wanting to enjoy what it is that's happening, right? Where it's like I would love right now, this is what the star is saying to me. It's like the star is saying, I would love to just stop for a moment to appreciate this, right? So it's like everything is flowing, everything is going, and it's like saying to the universe, thank you so much for all these gifts and blessings. Can I just get 5 minutes to like sit and enjoy it and chill and all of that? Because maybe that's the energy, right? Is that it's like once you do climb Everest, yes, you're ready for the next challenge, but in the same respect, you might need a moment, right, to kind of like recuperate and enjoy and ponder, the journey up the mountaintop and everything that it meant to you, and writing the story, right? It's almost like that kind of thing where it's like before I move on to the next thing, I want to jot down these thoughts and write this particular chapter of the memoir just to immortalize it, and then I can move on from it or something like that. And so again, this is the goal, right? To be able to just enjoy it for a moment. And then what's coming up is what needs to be negotiated with is the Empress, right? And it's giving me a degree of like, I'm not allowed to enjoy it yet until I can call myself the Empress, right? That it's like, for whatever reason, even though you just climbed Everest, there's still some other proverbial mountain that needs to be climbed. And with the Empress in particular, I'm seeing, like, typically she wouldn't come through as an authority figure, right? Like, that's usually more of an emperor kind of vibe. But I'm getting an energy of like judgment, qualification. You can call it imposter syndrome, all of these things that it's like there's somebody or something that I almost feel like you want maybe recognition from, right? That's another energy that I'm getting from this Knight of Cups. It's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, if somebody climbs Everest but nobody sees it, does it count? If you don't get the pat on the back or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's something about that where it's like before you can feel free to move about the cabin, you need like the authorization or something like that from this Empress energy. And then the advice, the final card at the end of the spread here is the Two of Cups, or excuse me, no, the Two of Pentacles. And what's interesting is that just about all of these cards were in the last reading, which was the Taurus reading, but very, very different energy. I kind of love when that happens, when it's like the cards are constantly evolving and things like that. But you might want to check out the Taurus reading just to see if there's anything in that for you. In the Taurus reading, this Two of Pentacles was talking about having something that's like ready to go to market, but you're caught up on the packaging phase of it, right? Like it's like the product is perfect, but you're not sure either how to market it or how to package it. The other analogy I was getting was like, you know, giving a gift to somebody and the gift is spectacular, but you're fussing with the wrapping paper aspect of it. And like you can't get the corners right and you're frustrated by that. And as an advice card for this particular energy, I want to say that it's saying that it's almost like you're fussing too much with the details of the story or the packaging of the story. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's almost like you've written this incredible book, this incredible novel, but you don't have the cover image yet, or something like that. It's something, again, it has something to do with like fussing over the packaging or something like that, even though you already have this incredible story that's ready to go. And there's also an energy in terms of the Two of Cups in this particular reading that there's all of this this stuff, I guess you could say, there's all of this stuff that's happening in the background here, this stormy sea, all of these ships that are being tossed around. And what I often see with this card is that there's like a quantum entanglement that's happening between the pentacles and the scene in the background, where as this character is juggling, all of this stuff in the background is moving. But because he's so in the moment, he doesn't see the quantum entanglement, the as above, so below, that it's like if he moves this thing to the left, then all of the ships move to the left. Or if he moves it to the right, then they move to the right. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's something about that in terms of, I think what it really wants to come down and say is that the situation that you're currently finding yourself in is not a situation that you fell into accidentally, right? It's a situation that you actually steered in this particular direction. It's like you created it, but I don't think you even realize how you created it because it wasn't like direct intention. It wasn't like you said, I need to do this particular thing. It's almost like falling upwards, right? It's like falling into a great situation because of your intention, because of your actions, right? Because it's like the Two of Pentacles is all about the manipulation of physical things, right? So it's like you took physical actions here in the materium that the cause and effect of that is the current effect is this wonderful thing that you're in the middle of, right? Even though it might be really intense. And but there's this resistance in terms of like allowing yourself to fully enjoy it or accept it as like the new plateau or something permanent because there's a sense of like a sense that it either could be taken away or that you need to prove something to somebody or something like that. And I feel like what this Two of Pentacles is saying is like remember that you got where you are because of the actions you took and the choices you made in a very good way, right? And it wasn't simply because the Empress showed up and said, here you go, and handed it to you on a silver platter, right? So there's like a disconnect for me in terms of almost like wanting the approval or the validation of a character in the story that didn't actually create anything for you. it's like ultimately the Empress in your narrative was you, right? You were the progenitor of whatever it is that you're experiencing. You were the one that gestated it. You were the one that provided the energy for it, the materials, the resources, all of that. And, there might have been other choice points along the way that you seized and worked with, right? But it's like you had to work with it, right? I've realized recently that there's an idea that, like, if somebody gives you an opportunity, right, then it's like whatever it is that you make out of that, that you kind of owe a degree of that success to them. But at the end of the day, it's like you can give anybody an opportunity. Whether or not something is done with it has to do with you, right? So it's almost like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. It's like you were given the opportunity to take the drink and you filled your cup. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yes, shout out and thank you to all the folks along the way that just represented the choice point. But at the end of the day, nothing was given to you, because in each of those choice points, you still had to prove yourself and go above and Beyonce. Okay, so there's another Beyonce. But you had to prove yourself in that situation, right? Because if you didn't prove yourself in that situation, you wouldn't have moved up to the next thing, right? So that's what I'm seeing here, is that it's like you kept moving up to the next thing, right? But it's not because somebody exactly validated you, right? It's like you kind of had to validate yourself. And it reminds me of, like, every in the distant past, let's say, every job I had in the distant past when I was a youngin and I was still trying to prove myself and pay my dues, I had many people that, quote unquote, gave me opportunities, but wouldn't give me my flowers in terms of success, because they didn't want me to actually move up to that next level, because then I was going to move out of their level, right? So it's like, smash that like if you've ever dealt with an employer that did not want to give you your flowers because they didn't want you to know how much you were worth, right? So that's pretty much what I'm seeing down here. And it's again just kind of recognizing that it's like everything that's happening is a direct reaction or response to something that you did and created and worked with and all of that. And again, it's like, thank you, we're so grateful for all of the opportunities that have come our way, but at the end of the day, it's like nobody did the work for you, right? So let's pull some oracles and just clarify. Okay, so overall it's saying, I am a gift. See, Virgo, the Beyonce of the zodiac. I am a gift to the world. When I lead with kindness and love, I create a ripple effect that benefits more people than I'll ever know. Oh my God, that is absolutely the Two of Pentacles here. The ripple effect. Yes, that's the perfect way to describe that. What you are experiencing is the ripple effect of the kind things that you've done for people. It's like basically karma. That's the best way to describe it, is good karma, right? You're where you're at right now, cashing in your chips because you have good karma. My presence, my knowledge, and my passions contribute to the greater good of the world. I am a gift, right? So even just your presence, right? How many times were you just present in a place, and because your beautiful face was there, whatever business it was made more money than they even knew what to do with because you were there, right? And then underneath the star, it's saying, I am perceptive. My intuition is powerful. When I'm unsure, my intuition is sure. I strengthen my intuition by trusting it and responding to its impulses. I am perceptive, right? And I was saying that the star was talking to me about, just kind of thinking to yourself, like, all of this is great. Can I just have a moment to enjoy it so that I can actually appreciate this and all of that? But then it gets wrestled up against this Empress energy of like you still have a due to pay, or you got to pay your dues or something like that. And I think it's like there's an intuition disconnect maybe, where it's like it could just be an aspect of your body saying like I need a little rest. I need a little me time. The battery only has so much of a charge, right? So it could be an aspect of that. But also in the same respect, an exercise in discernment where it's like, do I really need to listen to this voice in my head, or is that an old program that I need to transcend, or something like that? Underneath the Empress, it says, I'm a miracle of nature. Okay, Beyonce? And then underneath the Two of Pentacles, it says, I am rich inside and out, right? So because of the quantum entanglement in this card, it's really just talking to me about the fact that your reality is a reflection of you, of your karma at the end of the day. That it's like, if you did not deserve this, it would not be happening, right? Because you are a gift and you have gone, I'm going to say it again, above and Beyonce. So I love you all to the left, and I'll see you next time.